we are diving straight into the hardware revolution. AMD is preparing a potential RX 9050, and the supply chain is already raising serious questions about this entry-level contender. We break down the technical specs and see if this card can truly challenge the competition with its unique configuration and ambitious overclocking potential.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSocket's Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
Next up, we shift focus entirely to the financial landscape as we dissect the recent AMD Q1 earnings call. We're hearing the unscripted analyst questions, with Joshua Buchalter pressing on the server CPU market outlook and CEO Lisa Su addressing the massive surge in data center revenue driven by AI infrastructure spending. We continue our deep dive into the earnings call analysis, focusing on the detailed inquiries from Thomas O'Malley regarding server CPU growth cadence and supply constraints, and Ross Seymour questioning AMD's differentiation strategy against x86 and ARM competitors amidst rising AI GPU ramp costs. Finally, we look at AMD's next move with the Radeon AI PRO R9600D, a card designed not for gaming fireworks, but for serious local AI inference with 32 gigabytes of VRAM. Discover why this workstation card is a game changer for developers and edge systems, and don't forget to check out our list of top 9 market-beating stocks for free right now. AMD is reportedly developing a potential RX 9050, aiming to introduce a true entry-level model to the graphics card market. However, supply chain feedback is raising concerns about the viability of this planned release. While the specifications on paper suggest the card would outperform the existing RX 9060, it is expected to operate at lower frequencies. Details emerging from a leaked datasheet indicate the potential RX 9050 would be based on the Navi 44 architecture, shared with the RX 9060, but featuring 2048 stream processors. The card is slated to come with 8 GB of GDDR6 memory, coupled with a 128-bit memory bus. Performance metrics include a base game clock of 1920 MHz with a boost up to 2600 MHz. Comparing this to the RX 9060, which features 1792 stream processors, the proposed RX 9050 has more processing units. However, to offset this theoretical advantage, the frequencies are significantly reduced. The boost clock is reportedly 530 MHz lower, and the game clock is 610 MHz lower, representing a 17% and 24% reduction, respectively. Given that the card's characteristics resemble an RX 9060 XT, albeit with less VRAM, there is significant potential for users to attempt aggressive overclocking. The series is capable of very high frequencies, with the RX 9060 reaching 2990 MHz and the RX 9060 XT reaching 3130 MHz. Industry observers are now speculating whether the hardware utilized for the RX 9050 is capable of sustaining these high frequencies, or if AMD plans to revise the specifications, potentially reducing the stream processors, before the official launch to rebalance the performance hierarchy with the RX 9060 series. AMD reported strong first-quarter results, driven primarily by significant growth in its data center segment and broad demand across all business units. Management attributed this success to a surge in AI infrastructure spending, citing a 57% increase in data center revenue, fueled by robust sales of ePYC CPUs and Instinct GPUs. CEO Lisa Su stressed that the data center is now the primary engine for revenue and earnings growth, noting that both cloud and enterprise customers are rapidly increasing adoption due to expanding AI workloads. The company's success was bolstered by its capacity to scale the supply chain and maintain leadership in both CPUs and GPUs. Following the earnings call, analysts posed several pointed questions that illuminated key areas of focus for the company. Joshua Buchalter of TD Cowen inquired about the rapid doubling of the server CPU market outlook and the company's path to achieving its greater than 50% market share target. CEO Lisa Su responded by pointing to the faster-than-expected adoption of agentic AI workloads and affirmed that AMD's diverse CPU portfolio provides a strong foundation for future share gains. Thomas O'Malley of Barclays focused on the pace of server CPU and AI GPU growth alongside potential supply constraints. Su assured analysts that while supply chain tightness remains, AMD possesses strong visibility into customer demand and is confident in meeting growth targets through 2027. Ross Seymour of Deutsche Bank sought clarification on AMD's differentiation against x86 and ARM competitors and the effect of new products on gross margins. Su highlighted the breadth and customization of AMD's portfolio, while CFO Jean Hu detailed margin benefits from server CPUs and embedded segments, tempered slightly by the ramp-up costs associated with AI GPUs. Timothy Arcuri of UBS requested specifics on the mix of unit versus price growth in server CPUs and competitive positioning in low-latency architectures. Su clarified that most growth is unit-driven, with pricing reflecting inflationary pressures, and reiterated that AMD's compute portfolio is sufficiently broad to meet evolving market demands. Vivek Arya of Bank of America addressed whether agentic CPU growth is additive or cannibalizing to GPUs, and the impact of memory cost inflation. AMD confirmed that agentic CPUs are largely additive to the total addressable market, and that the company has secured adequate memory supply to support demand despite industry-wide cost pressures. Looking ahead, analysts will be closely monitoring three key catalysts in upcoming quarters: the launch and adoption rates of the Venice CPUs and MI450 GPUs, the company's ability to navigate supply constraints and cost pressures, particularly in memory and data center buildouts, and the sustained demand for AI across cloud and enterprise sectors. Execution on strategic partnerships and maintaining gross margin stability will also be critical indicators of progress. AMD is currently trading at $458.01, up from $355.26 pre-earnings. The market is now assessing whether the company has reached an inflection point warranting a buy or sell decision. Noi Dung Kai Tight. Advanced Micro Devices reported strong first-quarter results, driven by significant expansion in its data center segment and broad-based demand across all business units. Management attributed this success to a surge in artificial intelligence infrastructure spending, citing a notable 57% increase in data center revenue, propelled by strong sales of ePYC CPUs and Instinct GPUs. CEO Lisa Su underscored that the data center is now the primary engine for revenue and earnings growth, noting that both cloud and enterprise customers are accelerating adoption due to expanding AI workloads. The company's success was further supported by its ability to scale the supply chain and maintain product leadership in both CPUs and GPU. /N/N following the earnings call, analysts posed several pointed questions that illuminated key strategic and operational concerns. Joshua Buchalter of TD Cowen questioned the rapid doubling of the server CPU market outlook and AMD's progress toward its target of achieving over 50% market share. Lisa Su responded by linking the growth to the faster-than-anticipated adoption of agentic AI workloads and positioning AMD's diverse CPU portfolio favorably for future gains. /N/N Thomas O'Malley of Barclays inquired about the growth cadence for server CPUs and AI GPUs, alongside potential supply constraints. Su assured analysts that while supply chain tightness remains a factor, AMD maintains strong visibility into customer demand and is confident in meeting growth targets through 2027. /N/N Ross Seymour of Deutsche Bank sought clarification on AMD's differentiation against x86 and ARM competitors, as well as the impact of new products on gross margins. Su highlighted AMD's portfolio breadth and customization capabilities, while CFO Jean Hu detailed margin tailwinds in the server CPU and embedded segments, partially counterbalanced by the ramp-up costs associated with AI GPU. /N/N Timothy Arcury of UBS requested a breakdown of unit versus price growth in server CPUs and competitive positioning in low-latency architectures. Su clarified that most growth is unit-driven, with pricing adjustments reflecting inflationary pressures, and emphasized the compute portfolio's breadth to meet evolving market demands. /N/N Vivek Arya of Bank of America addressed whether agentic CPU growth is additive or cannibalizing to GPU sales, and the effect of memory cost inflation on the company and its customers. Su stated that agentic CPUs are largely additive to the total addressable market, and AMD has secured adequate memory supply to support demand despite broader industry cost pressures. /N/N Looking ahead, analysts will be closely tracking three critical areas: the launch and customer uptake of the Venice CPUs and MI450 GPUs, the company's capacity to manage supply constraints and cost pressures, especially concerning memory and data center build-outs, and the sustained nature of AI-driven demand from both cloud and enterprise sectors. Execution on strategic partnerships and maintaining gross margin stability will also be vital indicators of future progress. /N/N AMD's stock is currently trading at $458.01, up from $355.26 pre-earnings. The market is assessing whether the company is at an inflection point warranting a buy or sell decision. AMD has introduced the Radeon AI PRO R9600D, positioning it not as a gaming powerhouse, but as a specialized accelerator designed for workstations, small AI systems, and compact edge deployments. This card emphasizes massive local AI inference capabilities through a substantial 32 GB of GDDR6 VRAM, supported by the ROCm software stack. The R9600D utilizes the RDNA 4 architecture, featuring 48 compute units, 30 72-stream processors, and 96 AI accelerators. While its raw gaming performance is restrained, peaking at 24.8 TFLOPS of FP32 performance and up to 794 TOPS for INT4 matrix operations, its strength lies in memory capacity. The 32 GB of VRAM is highlighted as the critical component for running large local large language models, LLMs, image generation tasks, and memory-intensive development work, making it a tangible resource for professionals. Key technical specifications underscore its focus on compute density. The card boasts a 256-bit interface, 640 GB memory bandwidth, and 64 MB infinity cache. Furthermore, ECC support under Linux is noted, which is crucial for professional compute loads. This memory capacity is framed not as a luxury, but as a necessary working space where VRAM capacity dictates whether complex models can execute efficiently. In terms of power and form factor, the R9600D operates at a relatively modest 150 watts total board power, featuring a 12V2x6 power connector and PCIe 5x16 interface. It is designed for dense systems, server cases, or workstations where directed airflow is manageable. The reliance on passive cooling suggests an intended environment like a server rack rather than a standard gaming tower, where airflow is managed by forced, high-volume systems. Partner cards, such as those from Sapphire and PowerColor, confirm this professional orientation, prioritizing density and specialized deployment over flashy aesthetics. Software compatibility is central to the card's viability. AMD strongly anchors the Radeon AI PRO series to local AI and memory-intensive workloads, relying heavily on the ROCm open-source software stack for optimization. The inclusion of a dedicated Windows SI driver provides necessary product support. The ultimate success of the R9600D hinges on the robustness and clean implementation of the ROCm software path, determining its utility for local AI workstations and lab environments. Overall, the Radeon AI PRO R9600D represents AMD's strategic move to deliver significant VRAM capacity into a more efficient, professional workstation segment, deliberately bypassing the high-end gaming market in favor of specialized AI and development workloads.